players are ready, and they're going to start right now. Who won the dice roll?
I feel like Reese is moving his hands at a rate that makes me feel like he's going to go first. Yeah.
Absolutely, and he's going to normal summon the Dormouse. So this is a very good start. Of course, yeah, you use your normal summon, but it is going to go through. He's going to banish the White Rabbit and declare its effect to just summon it back on the field. So pretty standard start here. It is going through, so everything is going fine for him right now. Maybe you don't have any impermanence because it would have been activated from Cormac, so you don't have any impermanence, you don't have any Valor, you check that, but still there are some cards like the Molchami Fuvelos that can be activated. And one thing which is very interesting that we see there is that Reese is playing TB11, and TB11 wasn't played in a lot of lists recently, but he decided to add this card to his main deck.
Yeah, what do you think of it? I feel like it's kind of nice to have it. It's an extra piece of engine. I think a lot of players cut it because they think, oh, you don't really need it anymore, and it doesn't necessarily help me start any of my combos if I don't have another Maliss monster. But the upside is, I think just having that one extra trap, it's always nice. It always feels like a luxury. It makes your deck that much grindier when you have a few more like unique engine pieces in it. So you're giving up maybe a bit of extra consistency for a bit of extra like grindiness in your main deck. Do you think that's a worthwhile trade?
Well, I think it is a bit hard to answer and to have a clear answer, but I think that this card is great, of course, to extend your plays. The problem is that going into the game one, you want to absolutely win this game one, and if you go second and you open the TB11 or the GWC 06, it becomes really hard for you to just interrupt your opponent and be able to break the field. So in that sense, I think that you don't really need the card going first during the first game, or even going second, because anyway, I think that your combo is going to go through. I mean, you have the tools to go through with, of course, the Ignister cards, but also the March Hare, which is a great addition to the deck. So I wouldn't play TB11. I would probably ask myself if I have to play the GWC 06, but TB11, I think you can get rid of this card.
You're a minimalist on the engine.
Yeah, I am. I don't like to break, basically.
I totally agree. I think when I played decks, I was, you start out, you try out all the engine pieces, you see which ones you like, and then as you refine it, you take out all of the cards that are not starter cards. That was a good reaction to that Drawn Lockbird here. As we were discussing, you can put it in your main deck, I think, and here it is going to catch Cormac off guard.
Absolutely, the Droll Lockbird, which is very strong against the Mitsurugi Ryzeal strategy. And yeah, having this card in the main deck, of course, it is not that great into the Maliss matchup. You can just cut something off, like, for example, the Ignister cards, the addition of the Ignister cards, but you don't prevent them from comboing, but against Ryzeal Mitsurugi, it's a very, 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 very strong card. But here is the Ritual Spell, which will get Impulse. Impulse, such a great card, and here it just prevents Cormac from using the Ritual Spell. So now he's in a bit of a tough situation, because the Ryzeal will not be able to add cards from the deck to the hand, and he cannot just summon the Murakumo from the deck.
Yeah, having access to Impulse and Droll, both super powerful cards against Mitsurugi Ryzeal. And it feels like once you've resolved the Droll and Lockbird, it's difficult for your opponent to sort of gather more resources and keep playing. So every time you trade a card with them, you're feeling very, very happy about it.
Now, Cormac is going to play another card, and it is going to be the second Ritual. So you had 2 Ritual spells in hand. And yeah, of course, this one is going to resolve because you cannot impulse 2 times in the same turn. So he's going to be happy with that one.
Yeah, he's going to summon from the deck, summoning a Habakiri from the deck. So maybe that means he's got the Murakumo in his hand, because otherwise probably, it feels like, yeah, you'd go straight for that Murakumo. So I guess Reese can have a decent read on the remaining cards, because the Habakiri just got tributed, so that would mean... And he saw a Prayers, I think, get added.
And here we are going to enter battle phase, I guess, trying to just beat over the Red Ransom, but we have the Malice in the Mirror activated in response. So we are going to be able to access more engine, because the Red Ransom will get back on the field and banish another Cyberse monster, but the problem is that we are not going to add the field spell, because we are under the effect of Drown Lockbird right now for Reese.
I'm wondering You're supposed to chain prayers here that you have, because that way you can prevent the banish from happening. And because this banish now is going to add quite a lot of follow-up, right? Because this red ransom is going to be banished. You can then resummon it, and then you can banish something from your deck, add another card to your hand maybe, or you could banish the white rabbit. It's going to special summon itself. You're going to set another trap, maybe an MTP that's going to start banishing more. This just off this single card, just banishing your own card, negating an effect that's not really relevant, is going to do an awful lot for Reese.
Absolutely, the White Rabbit is gonna get to the field, and yeah, Cormac is not in a very good situation. The Draw and Logbird did such great work over here. Reese is gonna just set another trap.
Oh, you can't have that, right?
You cannot do that. You cannot do that, Reese.
Yeah, I think maybe he's forgotten, and then again, like the MTP, it's nice to set it, but you cannot activate it this turn, at least, while Draw and Logbird is in play.
Yeah, I think that they're going to get back onto this move probably.
Yeah, now we've got to do some arithmetic to see, given the monster has been... Oh, I don't think Cormac realized that his monster's attack and defense has been switched, given that pointing. So the attack and defense is switched, but then the red ransom, the attack boost is missing, and that looks like Cormac is going to concede the game, I think, if his monster's crashing. Yeah.
Of course, the Lancia going second is a lot more scary than the Lancia going first, because you have a field to go through, plus the Lancia.
Yeah, of course. So let's see what Cormac has for us. Does he have that draw phase Mitsurugi prayers?
It better have, because otherwise, you know what you risk. Oh, so we are into the main phase, and we are activating the pre-prep, a very strong card, which lets you add, of course, the Mirror Mitsurugi. So when you have the Mirror in hand, of course, this card, it feels bad for you. But this time, it doesn't, so you'll be able to just add the Ritual Monster and the Mirror. And on Resolution, we are going to see if there is a Drawn Logbird. Doesn't look like he has the card in hand, so Cormac might just feel a little bit better. We have indeed the Molchami Fuvolos, which is pretty fine. I mean, this is decent because you can get some draws, but this is not like absolute.
Yeah, I'm looking at Cormac's deck list now, because I think when you see Ryzeal Mitsurugi, I kind of have a certain picture of how the deck's supposed to look, and that picture doesn't normally involve pre-preparation of rights. I normally think that's in the kind of purer versions of Mitsurugi, but it looks like it's more of a, a Mitsurugi Ryzeal rather than a Ryzeal Mitsurugi. If you take what I mean, he's running a very light package of Ryzeal cards, so that's quite an interesting approach, because I feel like most decks I see, they run like a full Ryzeal package and then like very much a smaller package of Mitsurugis, but here I'm seeing like, I don't know, 15 or something Mitsurugi cards in the main, 3 of everything in the pre-preps, and then Ryzeal's absolutely minimal Ryzeal package. How do you like that take on the deck?
I mean, it worked. It worked because we are right now in top 8. But yeah, usually you see a lot more Ryzeal cards, and I think this is a good approach because the Ryzeal cards are so strong by themselves. They can just literally, they are so powerful, they can just go through the interruption very, very quickly. And this is so threatening, when you have two monsters level 4 on the field, you can threaten for so many cards. You have, of course, the Detonator, you have the Duo Drive, which can just lead to the field spell. You also have some cards like Exiton going second, which is very, very strong. So I think that you might want to have a lot more Ryzeal in the deck. But this is not the decision that Cormac took, and he decided that the Mitsurugi cards indeed are the best cards in the deck. And well, he has the ability to just go through one to another, but I see that he's not even playing the Dragluxion card to just add the 7 stacking. So yeah, this is another way to just build a deck.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach, and I kind of like it, again, just to see players coming up with different ways of doing things. I think maybe just saying I really want to have access to X, especially when you go second. X is just like one of the strongest cards in the game. For going second, negating opponents' cards, searching new cards, putting bodies in play. But for the time being, Cormac going to have to deal with this Droll Lockbird.
What a
Combination with Foolos there. It's a bit of a sad-looking graveyard. But Foolos did its thing. You know, it drew one card. I think, you know, even though it's a bit sad to shut down your own Foolos, if you resolve Droll, I think you kind of take it. You just say, look, Foolos didn't do a lot, but it replaced itself, and now I'll use the Strong Lockbird.
But yeah, we have two monsters that will get used to make the IP Masquerena. So this is kind of a consolation prize here. But we will see if Rice is able to deal with the field. We have the Murakumo, of course, which is a big threat, but also the IP Masquerena. But still during the main phase of Cormac, we are going to activate the March Hare from hand. Will we have Murakumo as a response? I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no point responding to that, because you can just
Totally.
discard whatever you were going to banish.
Absolutely. And here we are going to banish the Chesscat from the hand. But on resolution, maybe we could have activated the Murakumo indeed.
Yeah, I think it was on the effect of Chessy Cat.
Absolutely.
But then Driver in hand, happy for Reese to discard. It feels a little risky putting these monsters out because it's still in the main phase now. Yeah. Here we're going to see a little punish in the form of Dynamondo.
Yeah, absolutely. Chessy Cat is going to get back into the deck. And we are going to shuffle back the Habakiri. Yep. So we get rid of one monster, but still there is the Chessy Cat, the March Hare on the field. So it is kind of a win, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Riz now down to what, like one card, that is?
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like it's going to be enough against the board wiping abilities of Murakumo.
And it is very cool to see the Psychic Soldier in the graveyard. The Driver.
Yeah, at least got some use out of it.
Always in hand, right?
Always. Doesn't matter how many side frames you play.
Oh, did we see?
I saw him. He was about to play Caught by the Grave. I think he meant to play the Gold Sarcophagus.
So, is there a problem? Did he just put the wrong card on the field? I don't know, but for now there is a small discussion. But yeah, the Gold Sarcophagus, it just gonna resolve. We are gonna get the Dormouse, so that means Cormac doesn't have any Lancia in hand. On resolution, is there anything?
I mean, Caught by the Grave, a very powerful card, but I think if you have Dynamondo and a Prayers, then you can just play around it, right? So you have to respond to the Dynamondo with Caught by the Grave, presumably targeting the Murakumo. But if Cormac has one of his remaining cards being Prayers, then you're going to be able to, yeah, here we go.
Of course, yeah.
Just going to completely float past this Caught by the Grave and blow up the field once more. And Murakumo, you know, sometimes you think its negate's not very powerful because, you know, your opponent can just discard, but when you got no cards in hand, you don't have much of a choice.
It is just game, right? I mean, Reese doesn't have any cards in hand, and Cormac is just gonna start his turn again. Yeah.
Pretty randomized, especially after side decking. And who's your money on? What do you want?
I mean, is there gonna be a Lancia? That is the question, because we saw 2 times Dual Lockbird already, which is, I mean, kind of something. Oh! And he's just gonna pass turn. Usually when you set a card playing Maliss, you probably want, you know, to protect your loop, because the Maliss trap cards, of course, you can activate them to try to dodge some interruption. But here, this is not the case. Reese doesn't have anything to play. He has 4 cards in hand. Of course, maybe he has something like a Drawn Logbird. Maybe he has some interruptions. Oh, and here is the Mistaken Arrest. What a card. This is such a strong card. I really like this one because it allows you to use it during the draw phase. So even if there is like prayers tributing the Sagi, you can still respond activating the spell card to try to prevent any add from the deck to the hand for the Mitsurugi Ryzeal player. And it's going to be very difficult for Cormac to do anything. Of course, he has a normal summon, so he can still go into something like the Nether, which would be very good, considering the fact that Reese didn't have anything to play during his last turn, so he might be very low on engine. But yeah, there is this Mistaken Arrest. I think this is the first time that we see the card this weekend.
Yeah, I know you seem to be a big fan of Mistaken Arrest. Very powerful card. Shuts your opponent off for 2 turns. So it's worth noting that it does actually affect yourself in the in your turn as well, right? So no adding with like terraforming or I meet you or something like that. So you gotta watch out for that. But yeah, it's significantly more powerful than Droll because it shuts off not only the second summon, but you know, all the adds after the first one, but also the first one.
But here Cormac has access to the ritual spell, so he has the Murakumo on the field, which is a big deal for Reese. Can he go further? Can he just end the game right here and secure his spot in the top 4? We are going to see that in a few minutes, but of course, we hope for Reese that he has some interruptions. 4 cards in hand, probably something like maybe... We don't have an impulse, of course, because we would have activated that earlier, but maybe an imperm or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting like how the Mitsurugi cards are not fantastic against Droll and Lockbird, but the way to play around it, it seems, is just to have more Mitsurugi cards in your deck, and then when you get Droll and Lockbird in, you can just say, oh, I just happen to already have a ritual monster and a ritual spell in my hand, so you can just activate one and keep playing.
Now Cormac just did a bit of his job. He's gonna normal summon the Molchami Meowls and use both of those level 4 to just overlay them into an XYZ summon. He's going to summon the Tornado Dragon, which is great to force the set cards.
Yeah, an absolute classic Tornado Dragon. I think it's quite powerful again because it cuts off one more potential answer for Reese. Maybe he's got another Mistaken Arrest, he wouldn't be able to set that. Maybe he wants to activate the field spell, not going to be able to do that. So pretty heads up play here. I was looking, wondering, oh, maybe it's going to be a Baguska, but Baguska not so good really because you don't want to turn off your own Murakumo.
And the 2 draws that we saw during the game 1 and the game 2 and the third one is here, but this time he's not in the graveyard yet because he's in defense mode. Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
normal summoning in. I guess this is it for Cormac. He is going to secure his spot in the top 4. He is going to have 2 more rounds to be able to maybe leave the trophy and become the champion.
Yeah, you've got to think he is firmly in the driver's seat now. Only 4,800 life points for Reese. And presumably no tricky flip effect monsters face down.
Another draw Logbird in the graveyard. Like this his best companion, and yeah, it's not gonna accomplish a lot because of course there are a lot of things, and especially this call by the grave. We are seconds away from the end of this game. Cormac very well knowing that it might be the end soon.
Might as well activate the Call by the Grave, allow yourself to do pretty much anything on this turn. Presumably then wants to go into a duo drive. I feel like you don't need to do
You don't
too
need
much.
that. You don't need
Yeah,
that.
I mean, part of me would have just said, okay, I'll just keep this Call by for in case something very weird happens and just attack the game with the monsters currently on the field. But yeah, here we go.
We are still playing here with the ritual spell, and there is the impulse. It's not gonna do a lot. We are going to see the talent, but of course it couldn't get activated because Cormac didn't activate any monster effect during Reese's turn. And we are still playing. We're still going into XYZ plays. And this time it is gonna be the detonator attaching the Eclipse Twin. So even if we don't win during this turn, I mean, it's gonna be very hard for Reese to get the game. And yeah, this is the Droll and Logbird. And